You ever have one of those days where you answer your phone and instantly regret it? John, get your ass up here now. That was Paul, my neighbor up in the mountains. 3 charter buses just dumped. 100 people on your land. Margaret Lopez cut your gate lock, and they're throwing a festival. Now, I was still in my Denver apartment, 2 hours away, staring at blacked-out security feeds. All I could think was, yeah, that's gotta be a prank. But the sick feeling in my gut told me otherwise. 2 hours of white-knuckled driving later, I hiked down my own trail and stopped dead at the edge of my trees. My cabin, my quiet mountain retreat, was unrecognizable. DJ booth on the deck, bouncy castle in my flower beds, food trucks churning up my lawn, and the kicker, a banner strung across the porch, bold as hell, saying, "Thank you to property owner John Davis for hosting." My name right there. Like I'd signed off on this insanity. You ever walk into your own place and feel like a trespasser? That's how it hit. The lock I'd put on the gate was smashed on the ground, heavy bolt cutters thrown aside like trash. Food trucks had parked so deep they'd torn up years of grass I'd worked for. DJ equipment plugged into my outlets. My flower beds staked with a bouncy castle. Elderly folks were grilling burgers on my deck, kids running wild through my living room, mud everywhere. Porta potties right next to my vegetable garden. And every face in that crowd. Never seen a single one before. For a second, watching all these families laughing in the sunshine, I started doubting myself. Was I the bad guy for keeping this place private? Maybe the community really did need somewhere for their kids to play. But then reality snapped back. They broke my lock, trashed my lawn, and made me look like I'd thrown a party for 100 strangers without even knowing it. I couldn't let that slide. And then she showed up. Margaret Lopez, HOA president and now self-proclaimed event coordinator, strutting out with her clipboard. John, perfect timing. Everyone, here's the wonderful owner making this all possible. I could barely get a word out before parents started thanking me, kids hugging my legs, calling me generous. And I realized Margaret had coached them, told them I was all in, painted me as the hero. When I finally cornered Margaret, she brushed me off. Don't worry, John, I handled all the permits and paperwork. Proper channels, proper channels. Like any county office had given her the green light to break and enter. Meanwhile, families kept lining up to thank me for my brilliant partnership. Someone even said, "We should do this every summer." Like I'd sent out invitations myself. That's when Paul showed up. He was mad, really mad. "John, this has to stop. She's been breaking your lock every other Saturday for 6 months. I've seen the buses, the vendors, the same admission table at your gate. And Margaret pocketing the cash. I have photos." He wasn't kidding. Pulled out his phone and showed me a gallery. Snow festivals, Valentine's Day, spring celebrations, bouncy castles, food trucks. Crowds, every single month. Margaret in every shot, counting money. Turns out this wasn't a one-off. She'd been running a business off my property, building it up for months while I was just living my life, completely in the dark. I started to see how deep this rabbit hole went. One of Margaret's assistants, Janet Williams, she said, kept fidgeting with paperwork, hands shaking. I didn't trust it. Meanwhile, Margaret handed me a folder, insurance paperwork, she claimed. "We got $25,000 approved for your venue partnership after that storm damage last winter, John. Can't wait to move forward with all those plans we talked about." Plans? I never filed an insurance claim, never agreed to any venue. But there was my signature at the bottom of the form, except it wasn't my signature. Margaret had forged everything. Contracts, insurance, even emails to neighbors asking for partner testimonials in my name. When I tried to argue, she doubled down. "Of course you." Signed, John. Remember February, after the big snowstorm? We discussed turning the deck damage into an opportunity. The more she talked, the crazier it got. She'd built an entire story. Convinced everyone I was part of it, and the whole community bought it. Just then, Sheriff Miller pulled in. Margaret's face lit up, waving like she'd just seen an old friend. "Sheriff can explain. The Community Partnership Program," she chirped. Miller took one look at her paperwork, official stamps, my forged signature, everything looked legit. Even the catering manager backed her up, telling the sheriff, "We've done events here for months. Mr. Davis and Ms. Lopez run a tight ship." I wanted to scream. But then, twist, Sheriff Miller spotted a box in Margaret's car. "What's in there?" he asked. She stumbled. "Just planning materials, community records." Inside, years' worth of contracts, vendor agreements, a database of 2,400 family emails, marketing flyers, even detailed revenue spreadsheets. $47,000 in profit over 6 months, all off my land. She'd even started selling advance tickets for events through December. And here's the wildest part, she'd filed for adverse possession, thinking if she ran enough events, she could legally claim my property as her own. Her notes showed she believed Colorado law only required 18 months of continuous use, but it's 18 years. She'd built this whole empire off a legal myth, forged my name on everything, and was about to get away with it. The final blow came when the sheriff checked on Janet Williams, the HOA secretary. Turns out, no such person on any official record. When pressed, the woman cracked. Her real name was Linda Lopez, Margaret's own daughter-in-law. She broke down, confessed Margaret had threatened her family's livelihood to force her into helping, and spilled everything. How it started as a one-off fundraiser and snowballed into a full-blown scam. Detectives arrived, boxed up all the evidence, and the community, once so grateful, turned on Margaret in an instant. Parents shouted, "You said this was for the kids." Vendors realized they'd been duped. People saw they'd been used as pawns in a giant fraud. When all the financial records, photos, and emails came out, nobody had Margaret's back. Margaret was arrested on 8 felonies: fraud, forgery, identity theft, tax evasion, conspiracy, criminal trespass, theft by deception, and attempted property theft. Her trial became a local spectacle, courtroom packed with parents, neighbors, even local news. The prosecution laid out every detail: $47,000 in unreported income, systematic document fraud, coercion of family, and a plan to steal my land. Even her own daughter-in-law testified against her, showing how Margaret had bullied, threatened, and manipulated everyone around her. When the verdict came down, it was justice served cold. 3 years in county jail, $47,000 restitution, 5 years probation, and banned from any HOA leadership for life. Her family lost their home, moved out of state, and the HOA was completely overhauled. Full transparency. Background checks, no more unchecked power. As for me, I rebuilt my gate using wood from the broken sections as a reminder. Carved above it now, it says, "Community built on truth, not theft." Paul and I are still tight. He watches the place when I'm not there. And the mountain air? It's quiet again. Peaceful. Justice did what revenge never could. But I gotta ask you, if you caught someone running a 6-month festival on your land, forging your name, and turning your life upside down, what would you have done? Would you have called the cops? Confronted the whole crowd? Drop your thoughts below. This story's got enough fuel for a debate. And if you want more insane, true tales of justice getting served, hit that like button and stick around for the next wild ride. Stay safe out there, folks.